transition over to the New Orleans Saints. Sharief Ishaq, WDSU, is our guest from down there in New Orleans. Sharief, how are we doing?
We're doing well. I appreciate you coming on the Zoom once again. I feel like I'm monopolizing your time at least once a month.
I think that I have done that 3 times total. You have joined this show 150 times, so I don't think the trade-off is very fair. I'm getting far more out of you than you are out of me, but I'm happy to help whenever possible. So I'm glad to have done it. I want to talk about Tyler Shough a little bit because he's gone on some podcasts, and it sounds like he's really endearing himself to the Saints fan base. Have you caught on to that?
Yeah, he was on the St. Brown's podcast.
Yeah,
and that's probably they were dissing the food, which I'm kind of tired of those two guys trashing the city of New Orleans and the food here. It's getting kind of old, and I'm kind of glad that Tyler Shough stuck up for the city and said that's probably why you're not here anymore. And he's right. I mean, look, the guy is endearing. He was at Manning Passing Academy again as a counselor, as an NFL player. He didn't have to be there, and he was there again this year. And I think that really endeared himself to the Manning family. He's doing a lot of stuff that the former quarterback didn't do for this New Orleans Saints in the city of New Orleans. Going to the restaurants, hanging out with people, just hanging out with normal people, the normal fans in the street, going to Metairie, going to the North Shore, just hanging out in the city, going to Manning Passing Academy. I mean, he is doing the things that you would want out of your possibly franchise quarterback, or at least your starting quarterback for the foreseeable future. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what you need and you want from one of your leaders on the team.
What's your sense of his ability to lead from the interviews that you've been able to do with him, the practice you've been able to watch? It's always an interesting spot, but he's not your typical rookie because he's so old.
Yeah, but he still has to go through that process. I still think it's still a process for him. He's still trying to learn how to become a leader in the NFL. It's different. He's 26, but it's still different in the NFL. Whenever you have to become a leader for guys who are in their 30s or upper 20s that have been playing in the NFL for a few years now, like Alvin Kamara. You're trying to lead that guy. You're trying to lead those offensive linemen who pretty much have been playing for a few years now. It's different, but he's catching on. And I think the guys have spoken very highly of him in terms of being a commanding voice in the huddle and in the locker room. So that's a plus thing. That's a plus side for Tyler Shough as he continues to grow in this process.
2 questions here, very different questions, but the same. What do you think the Saints organization's expectation of him is this first year? And then the second part of it is, what do you think Saints fans expect out of him for this year?
Well, I think the organization and Kellen Moore and the rest of the offensive coaching staff just hopes that he can learn. He can learn this system, that he can be patient and not get frustrated, because it's, the bullets do come at you very fast in the NFL compared to playing at Louisville. I mean, the processing the game, they want him to be able to sit there and process. They don't want to throw him into the fire just to fail and kind of hinder his ability to grow. I think that's what they want. They want to see him gradually grow in the system, and just in terms of being in this franchise. What the fans are expecting, I mean, it's hard to tell, Hunt, because I think you're hearing a lot of, well, this team's going to suck. They're not going to win more than 5 or 6 games. Vegas has them at, I think, 5.5 or 6. So I just think they want something that's a good product. They want something that's exciting, you're showing me something for the future. Give me something that's okay, I think we're going to be fine. I think he's going to be fine. He's going to be good. Show us that arm talent. Show us that you care. Show us that, you won't go out in the field and fight with your center. You won't throw bad balls and get your players hurt. I'm being serious. I really think that the fans want to see, he's in tune, he's in sync with his offensive players. I think that's what they want. They want that level of fun, accountability, and excitement. So that's the thing that he has, the standards he's going to have to meet as this, his career goes along.
It's interesting because, the Bears and the Browns do this with a young quarterback every 3 years. The fan base kind of knows what they're doing. The Saints haven't done this ever. So, it's something they haven't drafted a quarterback this early in 50 years. So I just feel like this fan base is not equipped to, or hasn't been through nurturing a young quarterback along. They've always had one from free agency.
Correct. You're correct. I mean, they haven't drafted a quarterback this high since Archie Manning. You're right. So it's getting used to something new, and that's just that's how it's going to have to be for the next year or two. People keep asking me, like, man, how long is this process going to be? It's like, it's going to be at least a couple years. You're going to have to hope that they have some growing pains, good growing pains throughout this year, and you hope that they draft very well again next year. You hope the players from this year's class, and you hope next year's class hits, and you have a bunch of money in terms of salary cap, because you're going to lose some of those veterans as probably expected, and you're going to have some money to spend, and you do well in free agency. But that's just the life of football, the cycle of the natural life of football. You hope that I think personally that they have to be very patient. They have to be very patient the next couple years, and that the franchise has to 100% hit on draft picks. This class has to be good, and the next class has to be really good. Plus, you have to spend your money wisely whenever you get it. So I think that's the gist of it. I think they understand that's the process with this team now. It has to be a patient process, and you're not going to get the 10, 11 wins this year and be like deep into the playoffs. That's once every few years you see it. You saw it with Jaden last year. It's been a while, but even before that. I mean, it happens every once in a while, but I personally don't see it happen. I'll come on your air and talk for 30 minutes how wrong I was if it happens, but it's going to be tough. I'll be honest, it's going to be very tough. It's going to be there'll be some growing pains for everybody this year.
You're mentioning the fans like, well, this team's not going to be good. The over-under's 5.5, 6, but still, you look at the ticket sales for the training camp practices, and they're flying off the shelves, and everybody was there for OTAs. Like, is there still a good amount of excitement in the city, even though maybe the expectations for some are very, very low?
Yeah, of course. And I think the biggest reason for that, you change coaches, because I think it's tired of the coaching, Dennis Allen, and Derek Carr's gone. So everyone was tired of those two guys in the city, and the accountability not being there. I think you can just feel the sense of relief in the newsroom. You can feel in the locker room. You can feel the sense of relief with the fan base when they made all those changes, and everyone's out there with a smile for now. Everyone seems a little bit more relaxed and happy, because I think it's just the pressure is off for right now, because the expectations aren't really there. There are no real high expectations that, hey, we need to win 12 games this year, or we are going to make drastic changes and everyone's fired. No, it's hey, let's see what happens. Let's build. It's a process. Let's fix the things that we need to fix. Let's get the right players in here. Let's have deep players at each position. I think that's just how it's going to be run by Kellen Moore and the rest of the coaching staff and Mickey Loomis and his executives. It has to be that, look, we have to have a patient process. It's a soft rebuild, and then we're going to go from there. I think the fans realize it. I think that's all they wanted. They wanted a little bit of accountability. They wanted to see that some changes were being made, because they wanted to know that, this organization still cares about its fan base. They heard him. They heard the fan base. They moved on from what wasn't working, and they brought in something that's young and creative and this coaching staff and some of these players. So they're happy. They're excited. They came out and packed out the stands for mandatory minicamp, and they're going to pack it for the training camp.
It's a new era. Hopefully there's excitement a little bit more quickly than we all really anticipate. Hey, it's on. Thanks for watching Hunt on Saints. Before you leave, help us out a little bit. Hit that like button, leave your comments in the section below, and hit that subscribe button so you get all our content right here from Hunt on Saints. We'll see you next time.